It's 5 o'clock and you're off the clock with B. Scott. Today we're excited to have as our guest Todd Terrell with the United Cajun Navy. Today we're going to talk about what these guys do for natural disasters, how to be a part of the organization, and what to look forward to with these guys. And before we get started, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and check us out on YouTube, Spotify, and Rumble. Well, let's get right in this. Thank you for coming today.
Thank y'all for having me.
Did you have a good trip?
Ooh, 5.5 hours.
5.5 hours, huh?
Yeah, you had to leave pretty early, didn't you?
Yeah, 5 o'clock.
It was a fast 5.5 hours? Or?
No, I think the highest speed limit was 60 maybe. It goes
really?
From 60 to 40. Behind a tree, there's a 45. Behind another pole.
So you're from
Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge, yeah. Here to Louisiana, it goes from 45 to 60.
Yeah.
And then back to 45.
Yeah. And you can't speed.
No, you can't speed. And those little towns will get you.
They'll get you.
They'll get you quick.
Absolutely.
They got to make that money.
It is. Well, man, let's get into this thing. Tell us kind of how you got started with the United Cajun Navy, and how did that all begin for you?
Well, you know, it goes back to Katrina in 2005.
Yeah.
As everybody knows, New Orleans was a mess. You know, and they had a few of us that went in there. Russell Honore, General Honore, he was a 3-star general, Joint Task Force Katrina. He got some of us that had airboats and stuff, went into the city, met up with some guys from Lafayette area, and next thing you know, we were pulling as many people as we could.
Yeah, so it's kind of like you saw the need.
Yeah, that's
out.
all it was. You know, and there was a lot of people stuck in houses for 3-4 days at a time, stuck on roofs actually.
So you guys use like John boats, or I mean, obviously we've seen on the news. I mean, they were everywhere. You know, and
the smaller the boat, the better.
Smaller the boat, the better.
Yeah, because you had to get around trees and fences and cars and stuff.
Do y'all use a lot of surface drive motors?
You know, surface drives was just beginning to come into a thing then.
Yeah.
You know, it was a lot of flat bottom aluminum boats.
Yeah.
You know, and airboats. You know.
Yeah.
A lot of airboats.
Yeah, me and B. Scott was down there. You know, not exactly where you're at, but was the Lake Charles?
The Lake Charles,
at the boat show. We had a good boat show down there. Saw a lot of boats, but we're driving down through the neighborhoods, and we still see. I mean, we've seen X's on
buildings, and at there to Civic Center, wherever we were having the boat show. Across the street was this massive building, had windows blown out, had boards up. And Quentin, one of our dealers, was like, yeah, that's from the hurricane. Came through and blew all the windows out.
So, it's crazy that you still see the damage. And I don't know exactly what hurricane it was from, but... I
don't remember either.
I'm assuming.
I think that was Laura. Hurricane Laura that came through in Lake Charles around that area.
Yeah, it might have been. But, man, just the damage and... I mean, you still see the roofs blown off. You still see shingles. Stuff still in the trees. We've seen a boat still in a tree.
Yeah, we've seen a boat out in the wood going over that big bridge. I don't know what it's over, but
you see the tin wrapped around the trees.
Yeah, mm-hmm. So I can imagine an organization like what you're doing is good for people, because there's so many people in these cities.
Yeah, and one thing, not every storm do you need a boat even.
Right.
Hurricane Michael. It was, for instance, a prime example. We just needed chainsaws.
Yeah.
Guys with chainsaws would be able to cut the roads. Trucks and trailers would be able to get supplies in and to pull people out. Going to Hurricane Laura was more of a similar situation.
Right.
You look at Katrina, more of a water situation. So Ida, it just depends where the storm hits.
So are y'all from what I've seen, there's several other organizations that go under Cajun Navy. Mm-hmm. So you're United Cajun Navy. How many others are there?
I'm not exactly sure the exact number. It changes.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be Cajun nowadays. We all got a little special niche. Our niche has become more 365 days a year. We do a lot of recoveries. We go in with law enforcement, a lot with the Coast Guard. A lot of times they give up, or not really give up. I don't want to use that term. The Coast Guard is in it for a certain amount of time to recover a person alive. At that point, when the probability goes down, they call off the search. A lot of times that's where we come in. We do a lot of supplies. Christmas, we gave out over 100,000 toys for Christmas this past year. We do turkeys, Halloween, grandparents raising grandchildren. So we do a lot. We do a lot outside of it.
So you do a lot, yeah. So it sounds like you're doing a little bit of everything.
Yes.
Yeah. So what made you want to do this? I mean, did you just you're a caring person, want to give back to the community, or? It's a lot of work. I don't think people realize how demanding this is,
especially organizing all of it. And how do y'all do that?
We're very, very good with chaos. A lot of people are really, really good at planning. We don't really do too good at planning. We do really good at chaos.
Right.
If you call me right now and say, hey, there's a storm about to hit, we need you right now, we'll be there and be fine. if you said, hey, 3 months from now we got this event we want you to do, we're gonna mess up something, going into it, you know. So I got into it because my family was in the seafood business, and as everybody knows, Katrina, we lost everything. Everybody lost everything during Katrina, so that's kind of how I got into it.
Yeah, I got you.
And then you start getting supplies, and when you go down there and you start saying, hey, you want to come with me help? You want to take your havoc boat? You want to take your boat? You want to come help? When people go down there to help, next thing you know, there's no food, there's no water for anybody. Mm-hmm. So then that kind of puts a responsibility on the person and saying, hey, you want to come with us? You know what I'm saying? So next thing you know, we're feeding people. We're feeding volunteers. We're feeding first responders. We're feeding the people we're recovering. So it just blossomed into this big, powerful organization.
Right. So how big is it? I mean,
how many volunteers?
We got over 6,000 volunteers in our database.
Okay.
And we can make a call out at any time. Now, not every volunteer gets called out as a volunteer at that moment. We do a lot of spontaneous volunteer stuff.
Right, I got you.
Okay. That's why we're able to go so far. And
so how far do you go?
Well, we've been to Ukraine. We've been to Turkey. We've been all over the world, actually.
Really?
Right now, the furthest we're at is on the East Coast in the Carolinas. There was a couple of searches over there. It seemed like there was a few commercial fishermen that got lost this year. We search a little bit. We're lucky that we can have some planes and some commercial guys that'll fly for us. Planes, they'll change their routes up and different things. So it's been an interesting year.
Right.
Last year with no storm in the Gulf we had, it kind of throws a different scenario on us.
Yeah.
We prepare for storms. We don't want them. I mean, we're not like we go pulling for them.
But they happen.
But they happen, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's just a matter of getting prepared.
Right.
Again.
So all this is funded by what?
This is all funded by donations.
Donations.
Yes.
So that's good.
We're 100% nonprofit.
That's awesome.
You're nationwide, and you go out and help people. So basically, say a storm comes up, and y'all send out people. You have trained people too, right?
Yes.
So does people call you to come, or do you call the local law enforcement?
It's kind of a combination.
Okay, I got you.
We've been in both sides of it.
I didn't mean to cut you off, these guys.
Right. That's a good question.
That's a really good question. Yeah, we've been into some small areas that were just decimated, and we showed up, couldn't get a hold of nobody. The state boys or whatever didn't know how to get in touch with the locals. We went in there and started helping, and the locals were like, hey, y'all not certified or whatever. I'm like, dude, look around you. We got 200 people we rescuing. You ain't got no boat. You can't get a hold of nobody. Either come with us or what. Then we'll get calls a lot of times,
Yeah.
So it kind of works both ways, But we've kind of got a reputation. People want us there because they know we can bring in the supplies too. The other thing is we make sure first responders are taken care of because a lot of times their houses are affected during the storm.
I got you.
That's right.
And I think B. Scott was going to ask you about.
Yeah, it's about
the
the volunteers you have. You said you have 6,000 in the database. How many of them have gone through like some kind of training program or,
A good bit of our volunteers either were former law enforcement or former veterans.
Oh, really?
Yes. So a lot of them have medical training, which is a good thing to have, CPR training. A lot of people want to volunteer, but not everybody has the right training.
That's right.
And of course, as a volunteer, we don't have, all of our volunteers don't have to be 100% CPR certified, for instance. We like to have them because you never know when somebody we're picking up might need medical attention or whatever.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. So a lot of our volunteers, they have former training, with other organizations, Red Cross, United Way, law enforcement, veterans, a lot of veterans.
Yeah, actually, whenever that happened down there, we actually had customers taking their Havocs down there. We had Nick Palorino went down there with Cuz Outboards. Cuz Outboards went down there.
Yep.
For
Brian
3-4 days.
Jessen.
Brian Jessen went down there. So those guys went down there, and it was pretty brutal on these boats because they brought their boats back, and they'd run over railroad tracks or fence posts or stop signs,
cars.
Their boats. Of course, the Havocs did good, but they did take some damage.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a very brutal environment. I can't imagine walking through the waters.
And that goes to the volunteers too, the guys that'll go out there and put it on the line to go help people.
So the safety gear and all that stuff is provided by your organization?
Well, we do provide some. Most of it is just what the locals have.
Okay,
what the volunteers have.
I got you.
We try to make sure that depending on what event it is. Let's say it's a major flood, like going back to 2016 in Louisiana. We'll make sure if you show up in your Havoc boat or you show up in a boat, we make sure you got enough life vests on there. If you don't have enough, we'll put some extra ones on there for you.
I got you.
just do some minor checking like that.
So if somebody wanted to be part of this organization, how would they reach out and contact you?
Yeah, they go to UnitedCajunNavy.org, and we have a volunteer form to fill out. That's the best way, is to fill out one ahead of time. And if we need a certain kind of boat, certain kind of helicopter, certain kind of plane, certain kind of ATV, we put a call out.
I got you.
You know, so it's good to have them ahead of time. Of course, not everybody signs up ahead of time. It's just a people thing, how we are by nature. We want to volunteer, but we don't want to fill out the form sometimes.
Yeah, like there's a hurricane about to hit. Let me sign up. I want to help somebody.
Yeah.
I got you.
They just want to show
so
up.
that's really, I'm sure that's hard on you guys because everybody wanting to help. And
you know, and if somebody goes up and they say they got a certain kind of boat ahead of time, if they got an airboat ahead of time, we know that we can call them out. If somebody shows up that day and they say, oh, I got an airboat, they might show up in a 22-foot center console with a 300 on the back of it to go offshore. You know, so a lot of times it's just a matter of how much the need is, how quick the need is.
Right.
Now, I imagine it changes all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Every situation is completely different.
And if we're in a search and rescue, of course, we need speed. You know, we need people to get out there as fast as they can.
Right.
You know.
That's right. So going back to the natural disaster itself, so when y'all show up and you're helping rescue people off roofs and you're going in searching for people that are trapped, how long do y'all stay in that area? I mean, I know that eventually at some point the water goes back and, you know, then you got, you know, the cleanup.
Yeah.
So do y'all stay around and continue to help? We
stay around. Things have kind of evolved since Katrina. There's more thermal imagery and there's more thermal cameras and computers, drones. There's a lot more of that than just the military has. Back then, mostly the military had all that equipment. It wasn't really in civilian use too much like it is nowadays. So one thing we do, try to clear an area is with thermal imagery to see if there's anybody still alive or, you know, injured pretty bad. You know, then if it's a really bad area, they bring in the dog teams within the following days, you know. We with supplies, we try to stay in on a big disaster for about 30 days. When I say supplies, we're talking about cleaning supplies, tarps, food, you know, brooms, shovels, those kind of things. We want to get in and get out. We also want the local economy to start catching up.
Yeah.
You know? And then there's other church groups and stuff that we partner with that will kind of hand the baton off to them, and they'll come in and stay a little bit longer term.
I got you. So it's one of them deals where you get in, you do, you know, mass volunteers, get the thing handled, and kind of just slip away as you can.
We also like to work with the local law enforcement to make sure they're taken care of. Hurricane Michael in Panama City and Lynn Haven, for instance, the majority of the police force was affected. Cell phone service was out. They couldn't get in touch with their families. Roads were closed. It was a mess. So we went in and we started taking care of them. Because if they could get to work and take care of their job, knowing that their house was safe, they could do a better job. So we go in and make sure, you know, they're taken care of. You know, and then, I mean, you think about simple stuff. Something simple as somebody bringing you clothes to get them washed, you know, and different things like that.
Yeah, it all helps.
Yeah.
I mean, it all helps.
And there's a lot to the natural disaster side that most people probably don't think about, you know, beyond just the food, water, and shelter.
Yeah, you know, and we're humans. You know, you get aggravated. You know, if you're in law enforcement and, you know, you're trying to direct traffic and people like, I need to get that away, and they need to get home themselves. They can't get in touch with nobody, so they get a little attitude too sometimes. So we just try to help it out to make it easier for everybody.
You guys ever get in a bad situation with somebody that was just like, I don't know, hard to deal with?
Oh, yeah. We've had a few of them situations.
Really?
I think the very first situation I had that was really bad was in 2016 in Baton Rouge. We had a gentleman, the water was coming up. They told everybody to get out. They gave us like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and they said these houses were going to be over the roof. We tried to get this gentleman out, and he wouldn't come, pulled a gun on us.
Oh, wow.
I was threatening to call the cops. There was no power. I mean, it was bad, and I was begging him. I said, sir, you got to come. Anyway, 2 hours later, we went back. He was on top of the roof hanging onto the chimney. So we picked him up and put him in the boat. Now, this was a gentleman that 2 hours earlier was about to trying to kill us.
Yeah.
You know?
It changes, don't it?
Yeah.
It changes, don't it? Yeah. That might change his life forever. You never know.
Yeah, it could have.
Yeah.
It probably did.
You just realize that he was not listening, and then he feared for his life, you know. So maybe he did the right thing, and maybe you changed his life instead of just rescuing him at that moment.
Well, we was another area in Houston during Harvey, and we was in a bad area. Oh, it was bad. You wouldn't go in this area in the daytime. And we were trying to tell these guys with these big pit bulls and these big chains to get in the boat with us. And they wouldn't get in the boat with us because they were scared, you know. I'm like, dude, you're going to die. We're trying to get you out of here. We ain't trying to bring you to jail.
Yeah, we're not playing around.
Yeah, we're not playing around. So that was an interesting little moment there, too, you know. Yeah. But you have sometimes. And then you got people that, you know, this lady here has a little cat. This guy over here has a little dog. And neither one of them want to let go of the animal. The dog is trying to yap at the cat. The cat's trying to bite the man. So, we run into a lot of problems with animals.
Oh, I bet.
I didn't even think about that, but
I'm
I bet
not
you're
leaving.
right. Yeah.
I'm not leaving.
A lot of people don't want to leave their animals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how much of this, like people getting caught and stuck in these areas, how much of it is people just refusing to leave, or spur of the moment just snuck up on them?
That's a great question. I think it's a combination of both.
Yeah.
When you look at South Louisiana, a lot of the storm chasers, they don't like a storm to hit Venice because they can't be there on the coast when the storm's coming in. They want to be there on the coast, whatever. The problem is a lot of people can't afford to evacuate. A lot of elderly can't afford to evacuate, whether they don't have a husband, they don't have a wife, they have nowhere to go, they have no money, so they can't go anywhere a lot of times. The other thing is, if they did scrape up the money to go, where would they go, and what if they made the wrong call?
Yeah.
That's a big thing. I think if you look at these charts they're coming up with, one just came out yesterday, and it said we're going to have one of the worst super hurricane seasons we've ever had in all these years. Every year they're saying that because of the La Nina, and all that mess, which that's a different conversation for another day. But right now they're saying it's going to be a big year. So when you put all your effort into that, if you miss it by a few miles or whatever, people evacuate, they don't do it next time.
Yep, that's right.
And that's what's going to happen.
That's true. So why are they saying it's going to be a bad year?
Just because of the way La Nina is and El Nina.
And what is that exactly?
You know what? We need to look that up because I'll get it confused right now.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I
It's
understand.
I have
upper level,
absolutely no idea
upper
what
level
that is.
atmosphere.
Okay.
winds
Okay.
and different things.
Yeah.
The warmness of the water and the wind. I'm gonna stop right there.
Yeah, some weather, some advanced
something
weather
to do with
talk.
the weather, man. But the weather people, they're the only ones that get it right or wrong 50% of the time and still keep their jobs.
Yes, I mean it's true.
I mean,
Looks like
they don't have to be
Say
right.
it's gonna snow, and sometimes it just doesn't.
I wish I had a job like that. I didn't have to be right all the time.
Have you seen those charts? It looks like the drunk kindergartner colored them.
Yeah.
The cone of uncertainty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just never know with the weather nowadays because it is changing. I mean, right now it's like 3 degrees outside.
Yeah, it's hot outside. I mean, we're short sleeves in February.
Yes, I'm about to have to break out my Crocs and my shorts here pretty soon. Croc season. But,
Did y'all have a little earthquake up here the other day?
If we did, I don't know about it.
Did we? If we did, it wasn't to the point where I noticed it.
I probably slept through it if we did.
If it was nighttime, then I slept through it for sure.
Absolutely. I slept through a tornado not too long ago.
Yeah, no, that was a close call. Yeah,
Yeah, and I got a safe room.
and I actually slept through one that went real close to my house too. Same night.
Did you?
Yeah, we lived probably an hour and 20 minutes apart. We had 2 tornadoes went right by both our houses. Neither one of us was
crazy.
awake.
That's
I came
crazy.
through Camden on the way up here.
Yeah.
We had done a search a couple years ago for
Camden?
missing boat. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
There's a missing person on the river.
I'll be there.
You know, we've had, and in the last couple of years, we've had tons of people in Camden get thrown out of the boat on the river, not wearing their life
Not wearing life
jackets,
vests. Yeah.
kill cords, and that seems to me like
just jumping off the docks. One of them was like jumping off of a dock or something, and he jumped off and never came up or something.
Well, you know the old school life vests, the old orange ones that made you
Yeah.
look like a nerd when you were wearing
Yeah,
them. But
yeah,
if you
yeah.
had them on, you were good to have them on. You know.
Yeah.
Nowadays they got the life vests that you can't even tell they're on. You can pull the cord away.
Yeah.
It gets wet.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
I always wear a life vest. I mean,
if you're in the river, you never know what's below the water. It's always changing. It's not the same route half the time, and people get knocked out. They're not wearing the kill cords, life jackets. And
I
they get-
always wear a life vest. I mean, I don't. Maybe I was younger, maybe I didn't, but now, I mean, I do. They also got those hip ones. You ever see those ones that go around your hip, like a little fanny pack?
Yeah, I've seen those.
Those are nice too. You
Yeah.
know, just put that on. It might not do a real good job, but it'll keep you up a little bit. I would think. I've never actually pulled the cord on it, but I always want to pull Brandon's cord when he's wearing his just to pull it.
I've had
See if it works.
I had
Yeah.
a couple of them one time underneath my seat in my truck
Oh man.
on the back seat, and something spilled something. But anyways, they ended up getting wet and they expanded, and I had to cut them out of there. They were wedged up in the back of my truck. I couldn't get them out.
I had
for
one do
nothing.
that in the boat one time. I'm like, you couldn't get that thing out.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, man, that thing looks like it knocked me out if it went
So
off.
everybody needs to wear a life vest for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I mean, boat safety is important.
most of the recoveries we make are not wearing life vests and didn't have the kill switch.
Yeah. So do you guys, like, even though it's a volunteer situation, I mean, surely y'all got some rules and safety. Do you make people sign waivers or?
We make everybody sign a volunteer form.
Okay.
You know.
So that covers you, your
It
organization?
covers us at the organization. Of course, there's a lot of things For instance, if we're trying to recover a body,
Yes.
you know, we let everybody sign a waiver, which pretty much says that they cannot make a post, take pictures, send it to social media unless the family and or law enforcement has been notified.
That's true. Yeah.
Just in case it's not the body. We've had a recovery where it ended up being not the right person. We had a volunteer that took pictures, and next thing it was a big old ordeal.
Oh my God!
And it wasn't the right
It wasn't the right person.
Yeah, no, it was a different person. Yeah.
Oh my God! You know, that's terrifying for the family that thought.
Yeah.
You know, that's
it's
horrible.
really pulling the emotion. You know, your emotional strings.
Yeah, and we got a chaplain. We do a lot of mass casualty stuff too, like when we had the building collapse in Miami, the fires in Hawaii.
You went to Hawaii too?
I didn't go, but our chaplain did, our mass casualty chaplain.
So the fires out west, do y'all do a lot for them?
California's a whole nother animal.
Why is that?
Transportation is very expensive to go out there because of the distance, you know. So we sent supplies for one disaster out there, that fire, and it's just too expensive for us to send it out there. Yeah. Of course, you got to be trained in fire. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's one of those
It's
things.
a whole different, and them fires jumped in them valleys and them mountains pretty good.
Yeah,
those fires are insane.
Yeah.
How they spread
crazy.
and go across the forest there and burn whole neighborhoods down.
Yeah. And Hawaii was pretty interesting. When that fire, our chaplain that was out there was talking to some people. There was an 82-year-old lady, and they asked her, she survived. She jumped into the water, and they asked her what she thought. She said she thought that she had done bad. She said all her life she thought she was doing good, when thought she had done bad and died and was going to hell. Can you imagine all your life being religious, and then that's how you're going to end up dying, a bunch of fire coming after you, and you got to jump in the water?
Yeah,
that's
horrible.
insane.
That's horrible. Which, I mean, water is the opposite of fire.
Yeah.
That's what I would have done.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, so we didn't cover, you know, the water's a major thing down south. You know, anything on the coastlines, you got water problems. And then you got the fires out west. What about, you know, tornadoes? Y'all do a bunch
We do a lot of tornadoes. Now, we're getting up to that time of the year where tornadoes are going to start hitting a little bit. So the problem with a tornado is and most of them hit at night, and you can't see them.
It's so fast, too.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever seen some of those pictures where it's pitch black dark, and all of a sudden you see flashes of the tornado.
The lightning in the background, and
you can't
silhouette.
see them. It's not like a hurricane where you can get away, you can prepare and get away. Tornadoes are the worst.
Yeah.
You know, and I've seen subdivisions where 20 houses on one road were destroyed, leveled, and one house wasn't even touched.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of crazy.
We actually survived through Ep4 tornado in 2008 in Clinton, Arkansas.
Oh, wow.
And we all pull up the pictures for them so we can see the boat plant. I know you're probably going to have to find it. You look it up on Google, you can probably find it. But it came out of nowhere. What had happened was my grandma actually called the office and said, hey, you know, I'm watching the news. There's a tornado in your area. You know, y'all need to check it out. So we call everybody into the office, which I was a kid this time. Dad did all this, but we ran outside, seen birds in the air flying backwards. They were getting sucked into it. We turned around, seen the tornado, went inside, and
yeah, it was horrible. It hit the boat plant, and we lived through it. One of our employees was killed, Thomas Armstrong. But so we fully understand what you're talking about with tornadoes, and you know we've seen tornadoes do some really damage, and people do need help because when we came out of that tornado, we were lost. I mean, we didn't know where we was at. It was hot and it got cold. It was raining on us. Natural gas smell in the air. You know, it was chaos. Yeah. So, you know, people. You know, guys like you and this organizations that go out and help these people, it's a good thing.
Yeah, and you know, you think about it, when these storms hit at night, especially a tornado, you don't have time to get your stuff out.
Yeah.
You know, you just got to go.
Yes, that's some of it right there. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah, that's the building we were in right there.
Yeah, we were in that stuff right there.
So when you look at stuff like that, you know, not only do we have guys that are in there helping clean up, but our chaplain is there because a lot of people, if they've lost a loved one, you know, it's not like you can, and sometimes you can't find a person.
No, we couldn't find Thomas until 2 o'clock the next morning, I think.
It was, sometime, it was the next day.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, he was to the right of that, he was about in front of that semi-trailer.
Good Lord.
You know, behind
the problem is when you're missing people, you can't just go in there with heavy equipment and start ripping it apart. Cause
so it takes boots on the ground, don't it?
It does.
Yeah. And you got dogs, you know. You try to bring the dogs in there, the cadavers, and you know, then you got to be careful with the nails and stuff on their paws. So it's a process.
You guys got dogs?
Yes, we got a lot of dogs.
And like you said earlier,
a lot of that.
The thermal drones. To me, that's got to be a really useful resource.
That has been, I think, 3 recoveries were made this year by our guys with a thermal drone. You know, they were children, you know, got lost in the woods. And thermal drones are a big improvement. It used to just be in the hands of the military, you know. Well, now being in the hands of the civilian is helping out a lot. You know, it's really helping out a lot.
Oh, man, that's horrible. Children getting lost.
It is.
Yeah.
So does he get lost and they die out there?
You know, it's crazy. This year, and when I say this year, the last year, there's been a lot of recoveries that we haven't made. Just people just disappeared.
Wow.
You know, there's one up in Iowa that we've been doing as a truck driver. Man, they covered almost the whole state. Couldn't find him.
Really?
It's just suspicious circumstances of what happened, but there's no trace of this guy anywhere.
Really?
You know,
Just vanished.
Just vanished.
So when y'all get like a missing persons alert or something, y'all just seeing local people, local volunteers out there? I mean, how many people do you send?
It depends. We kind of have the country kind of segmented off, and we know who our key people are.
Yeah.
We know who our key boaters are. We know who our key guys with dogs are, you know, our key guys with the helicopters. So depending on what it is, if it's a missing person, if it's a child or whatever, we'll find out immediately. We'll get our local, the closest dog team involved in it.
Okay.
You know, and then from there we'll just expand out. A lot of locals want to help, you know, and if it's not in their area, one of our people know about it. You want to grab the most informative local and kind of work with them because they know the back cuts. A lot of times you're dealing with mental health too.
Yeah.
You know, and somebody may be missing, and he may be walking through somebody else's land that's got a mental health issue that don't like people in their yard. Next thing you know, that person starts shooting, or it's hunting season. You know, I got to make sure that people aren't just walking through the woods and, you know, going to get shot themselves. So there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, we're orange and stuff.
There's a lot more missing people than you think.
Really?
You know, especially in the trafficking world. Ooh.
Yeah.
And where exactly is all that mostly taking place, you think?
Most of it along the 10-12 corridor, you know.
Yeah.
I know from the border to Florida, you know, especially in Baton Rouge, because I'm from Baton Rouge, I know we're experiencing it on a terrible level right now.
Really?
You know, yeah.
And why do you think that is?
I think because we're like a midway point between the border in Florida and the border in the East Coast. You know?
So folks come in at Florida, or they
coming in from, I guess, meeting people halfway, or you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And in New Orleans, and a lot of tourists in New Orleans, you know. So times they are changing.
Times are changing. I mean, the borders are open, and we're trying to close the borders. I mean, it's a bad deal. This country is upside down, it seems like.
Yeah, that would be a good word for it right now.
It seems to me, and in other words, it's like, how crazy does it have to be until things you're seeing don't surprise you anymore? Mm-hmm. You know, like,
I don't know if we all. I don't know. Like, I can watch the news and nothing on the news surprises me.
And it's the most crazy thing. And like 100 years ago or 50 years ago, even, it would have been. I mean, it would have been the biggest thing ever. Yeah. To hear some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
and it just
crazy.
gets washed. In about 4 days, you stop hearing about it.
You stop hearing about it.
Where's it go?
It's still there, but they wash it away because something else come up.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's crazy how things are changing.
I believe, but now the technology and the people willing to help for what you do is better than it was 10, 15 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
The technology is so much better. You know, getting back to Katrina, and that was just in 2005. We barely had a flip phone back then. You didn't have the battery cell phone chargers like you do now. Right. You didn't have YouTube. You didn't have TikTok. You didn't have Facebook. You didn't have these live streamers. You didn't have these people getting information out there for the world to see how bad it is. On the flip side, you didn't have all the nonsense going on out there.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, it's a great, you know, we always talk about it. The internet's the greatest thing in the world. It's the worst thing in the world.
I know it. I can't.
It depends on the hands it's in.
Depends on the hands it's in.
I agree with you 100%. Mm-hmm. You know, I just wish people would focus on their own problems instead of someone else's problems.
Right.
You know, it'd be easier for everybody.
Right.
But yeah, it's crazy how this world is changing. The technology, the social media, the storms and stuff like that. It seems like, and I don't know if we're getting more storms or getting more tornadoes. It's just like everybody knows about everything, you know. And
there's so much more building going on than it was back in the day.
Yeah, you're right. A lot of construction.
A lot of construction everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, especially on the coast.
Yeah. So I think just everybody knows everything. Like, something happens in Florida, you're going to know about it. Like, instantly.
Yeah, you hear about it for that little time span that it stays up, and then it eventually will wash away.
Yeah. So did your whole family help? I mean, do you have kin folks and family that helps you do this?
My dad just passed away a week before Christmas.
Yeah, that's what you said.
And he was a big inspiration because he's kind of the one that got me involved in hunting and fishing back in the day, 200 years ago. You know, so he's the one that got me started in this
200 years ago?
Well,
that's
it's been a few years.
Yeah.
He rounded that up.
I rounded it up a little bit.
Yeah, I got you. I said, that dude's old, you know.
We grew up in the seafood business.
Yeah.
So had a great aunt that started our business in 1932. And she was actually a pretty, my mom still is in the family business. She does real estate and stuff. And so it's pretty cool. We come from a family of women-owned businesses, you know.
Yeah.
They made us do the work and they got the money.
That's right. Well, you know, around here, you know, this whole plant is operated by women. We have plant managers and whatever. I mean,
and they're really great. You know, they keep things.
DJs are plant manager, but we call them a girl every once in a while.
Yeah, he's a little.
Anything I need to know about before I go back there and get yelled at?
No. We got a lot of good women at this company that keeps us in line for sure. So we understand what you're saying.
And going back to the hunting and fishing you growing up doing, what kind of hunting and what kind of fishing?
Back then it was duck hunting. We do a lot of duck hunting. Yeah. You know, and
what kind of ducks you guys kill?
Well, my dad didn't have a bunch of property at the mouth of the Pearl River, Mississippi-Louisiana border. Before Katrina, the duck hunting was really stellar down there. Ever since Katrina, it's not as good down there.
Is the habitat damaged?
I think the habitat got damaged. Yeah. You know, another property we had some 8 and 10 foot bayous. Now they're like a foot or two, so it's silted in a lot.
So it's going to take a while. It's going to take a while for it to kind of clean up.
It might not. Probably.
It might not ever change. You know.
And I'm at that stage too, to where, you know, with all the new technology and camouflage and deer scent and everything. My dad would go tell us, hey, go sit behind that tree over there. Here, take this shotgun and here's a banana and don't make no noise. Yeah. I'd be looking 50 yards away and I'd see him smoking, picking his rifle up and shooting a 6-point, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely different.
It's definitely different.
That's the hunting industry pushing camo and scent blockers and stuff. There's a lot of money in that, you know. I got some really nice camo because I like the way it looks, but you probably don't really need it, you know. But
no, since the beginning of time that people have been killing deer.
It's just such a huge market. Yeah. It's a huge market for revenue.
It is.
I've seen my dad kill 3 or 4 personally. He smelled like the Marlboro man.
Yeah.
And I've seen him personally kill him. So
yeah.
You play the wind right, you know.
That's right.
Yeah. I
don't even think he was doing that.
I mean, if I got to pee, I pee out of my lock on, you know. I mean, you're hunting the wind anyway, right?
So what's the matter? So if I'm worried about, you know, that scent getting out, then I'm in the wrong spot anyways.
The deer, I ain't planning on deer coming this way. So I'm looking this way anyway, and I'm gonna pee. You know, so it don't matter. Pee off your stand. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So I mean, so how long are you gonna do this? I mean, is this something you're gonna do until you retire? I mean, do you have a job?
Yeah, we pull those old cypress logs out the swamp.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, those old sinker cypress logs.
How do you do that? I mean,
growing up in the seafood business, we got a lot of connections with crawfishermen and stuff, and they know when the water gets right how to pull the logs out.
So you got like a big barge with cables on it? I mean, how you do?
We got some havoc boats that when they're not duck hunting, they'll go pull them out the woods.
I hear you. So you gotta have a pretty good sized boat though, don't you?
Not really. You'd be surprised.
Really?
Just some good rope and some water.
Once you get them pulled out and surface, do they float at all, or do you have to keep them kind of?
You got to keep the boat on plane, and once you get them up.
So you go down there looking for logs and stuff like that. I mean, I've seen them on TV.
And you know when the water comes up in the basin, you got a lot of floaters in there.
Yeah.
You know, because up in the middle of that swamp, them logs ain't going nowhere.
So there's a lot of people doing that. I guess there is. I see it on TV.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's good money in that?
If I tell you that, then everybody will be in it again.
Well, you know.
It's got its years, yes. It can be
I mean, there's good money in the boat business, too, sometimes.
If you do it right,
you do it right, you know.
You got to catch a good year when people need it.
Yeah.
When there's a storm, when there's a lot of people that need specialty woods, you know, different things like that.
And what kind of logs are they?
Cypress.
Cypress?
It's the old virgin cypress.
Mm-hmm. They're huge, aren't they?
Some of them are pretty big.
Yeah, I imagine it's good money when you work hard. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to make good money, you got to work hard at it. And a lot of people don't want to work hard; they just want the good money part.
And it really don't matter what you're doing.
So you don't have to worry about.
If you work hard at whatever aspect of whatever you do, you know, you're going to find good results.
I kind of was watching this guy, Country Wayne. I don't know if y'all been keeping up with him a little bit. He's a little comedian guy. I saw him when he had 500 followers a year ago. Now he's got almost 9 million. You know, and he was talking about all the people on TikTok and Twitter, all the ones that have the big accounts nowadays and stuff. He said a lot of those were people back in the day that were nobodies, you know. He says a lot of the people that were somebody back in high school or whatever, you don't really see them as interested in social media and stuff, you know, and he's kind of right. You know, social media is kind of like the way for a lot of people to kind of get back at what they missed out in their past.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Y'all find that a little bit?
Yeah, you see, what I notice is from some people I know, and like I know them personally, then I see their, what their social media shows, a lot of people try to live a life that maybe they're not living in reality, so they'll put special pictures up that make it kind of look like they're happy or whatever doing this, and then really in reality it won't be the truth.
Yeah, I mean, I see it all the time on social media where people live a different life.
Yeah, false reality.
Yeah, it's what they really want to do that they can show people, but it's not true. Like I always tell people, like I really don't care what you're cooking for dinner. I got my own problems. My chicken's dried out. You know what I mean? So I don't want to look at your prime rib. But so it's really weird what people's interested in.
Yeah.
Social media. Then you think that everybody cares about their feelings. So it's really weird how social media is kind of brought everybody together, communicating about things that really doesn't matter. But I can see the good in social media, and I can see the bad in it. And for what you do, it's definitely good.
Yeah.
But like you said, there's some people that want to get their little 5 seconds of fame, and they post something they shouldn't post, and you got to watch it. That's not the right thing to do. So people do take advantage of social media. We see it where, like, hey, just want to be the center of the room for once.
Yeah.
And so they get on social media and like, boom, everybody likes me. I got 250 likes. They like what I said, so they say something else.
But it's like the news; it just washes away.
Yeah,
that's right.
And when it's gone, they're constantly chasing that. That topic, that trending thing.
We notice it whenever we make posts. If you're posting about something good, if we go post, we gave away 10,000 jackets in Iowa. You'll get 300 or 400 people that might like it. If you go put out there that you're looking for, a missing boy or a missing animal or something like that, you'll get 10,000. It's like people tend to like more stuff, like bad news more than good news. And sometimes I think they may be pushing that over people.
I don't know. Sure. It's just I don't know why people are like that. They love drama.
Yeah,
they want to hear extreme things.
Yes,
it's like watching an action movie. You're always waiting when you're watching a good movie and you're about 45 minutes in it. It's like, okay, this is a good movie, but what's going to happen really bad that makes it into a good movie?
A great movie.
How's he going?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you're always waiting on. Okay, the dog's going to die. Okay, something's going to happen here. You know what I'm saying? So, people just live they just like drama.
We went through some cyber stalking issues a few years ago, and boy, that was a mess.
Yeah.
And there needs to be some laws changed about cyber stalking.
Cypress stalking?
What is that?
Cyber stalking.
Oh, cyber stalking.
I thought you were talking about trees again.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about cypress trees.
How
are we stalking them?
Yeah.
I was like, man.
Cyber stalking.
I got you.
That needs to change because, and there's bullies at school, Unfortunately, I was never bullied, but we were there to help take up for some of the kids that were being bullied,
Yeah.
But if you're bullied by somebody at school, you could go home and kind of get away from them. But on social media, when you got to do your homework on the computer and everything else, you can't get away from sometimes. It takes a whole nother level on. Then you can get bullied and you don't know who your bully is.
Yeah.
And a lot of time when you got fake accounts, it could be one person and it could be 10 people you're thinking coming after you.
Well,
so it's taking a whole nother meaning of cyber stalking.
Well, in my opinion of cyber, bullying and things like that is, I think that social media gives a ability for somebody that wouldn't have the courage to even try to bully somebody.
Yeah, say it to your face.
Gives them the power to do it behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Also, too, back in the day,
increases the amount of people.
Back in the day, when you were in high school or middle school and you got bullied, it was just you and that bully.
Yeah,
and a couple of friends, right? But now, it's a bully and it's their audience.
Yeah,
and the bullier, or whatever you call them. What do you call them? The bullier. Well, anyways, they get off on the attention they're drawing from their audience. So it just makes the situation really bad for the person that's getting bullied.
Yeah.
But back in the day, we handled it a little different. Then we took care of that. Then we became friends. But
then everybody was friends.
Everything's changed. Everything's changed. It's just not like that no more. It's just I don't know what we're going to do.
I saw a shirt the other day. It was on the how those things pop up. You're looking for T-shirts, and next thing you know, they advertising T-shirts to you.
Yeah.
The T-shirt said, "Not everybody was kung fu fighting."
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. It's crazy. Speaking of T-shirts, back to the. You said you had a post that you would give 10,000 T-shirts away to kids and only get 300 likes. So I know that you have storm seasons, obviously. Tornado season's coming up. You got your hurricane seasons and stuff. So when it's not necessarily a hot time for storms, what kind of things y'all do? I know you talked about giving clothes to kids and food and stuff like that, but what kind of things do y'all do in those slower times of the year?
So like right now, for instance, we're getting in a lot of brand new clothes. It might be brand new jackets, it might be brand new shoes, it might be socks, it might be bathing suits. So we're sorting through them, because a lot of what we're getting for Christmas next year will be coming in now.
Oh, really?
I got you.
What we got in 3 or 4 months ago would be stuff for the summer, because a lot of closeouts and different things like that.
And these are all just strictly donations?
These are all strictly donations, yeah.
Is there drop boxes somewhere? Is there?
No, we deal with corporate. These are corporate companies. Amazon,
really?
Home Depot, Walmart. There's some companies on the East Coast that have, they buy out like Bed Bath & Beyond lots, like when they close down their stores and stuff. Might be an 18-wheeler, who knows what's in it.
Really?
You got to sort through it.
So you just get like big donations like that, they just pass them through
and
to
then
you.
we try to sort through them. We work with Grandparents Raising Grandchildren is an organization, because that's a big thing in the world today.
Yeah.
A lot of grandparents raising grandchildren. So we have a list of them, and they need stuff throughout the year, whether it's bicycles, or we do a lot with kids, trying to give them a weed eater and a lawnmower, trying to start them a little lawn business,
That's good.
So yeah, there's a lot of things we do year round.
Do you think that grandparents raising children is a growing statistic? I mean, do you think that there's more of it happening now than there has been?
Oh, yes, 100%.
Really?
A lot of incarceration, and then a lot of it too, just people they're getting away from the traditional family.
Yep.
They don't
I
care.
agree.
So there's a lot of it, but drugs, incarceration, and sometimes it's just innocent. Just a single parent has to work 2 and 3 jobs and can't afford to take care of the kid, and the only one that take care of him is grandparents.
Yeah, because it takes so much money now to live.
Yeah.
I mean, golly. I mean,
and grandparents are getting older. They don't have a lot of grandparents. They don't know how to turn their phone on or whatever, and you see how some of the kids today are so bad. Can you imagine?
oh, it's
that's a big problem.
terrible.
It definitely is an issue.
And I also noticed here, I got some notes here. We got notes here, but I also noticed that you take kids fishing. And you do a lot for the.
Yes, we do a lot of that. Jim Bob Allgood with Redneck Adventures.
Yeah.
I need to get y'all going with him pretty good.
Yeah.
There's a squirrel hunt this weekend, taking underprivileged kids and handicapped kids squirrel hunting. Yeah. There's a crappie fishing tournament coming up.
Really?
There's bank fishing, catfishing on the river. Yeah, we do a lot of that. And my dad just passed away, and he was 80, and he taught me how to fish. And he was 6 months before he passed away. We go to my sister's pond. They got a private pond, and I said, "Dad, you got to come fishing." He didn't want to go fishing. I said, "You got to come." There was a couple bass we saw on a nest. He caught that was the biggest bass he ever caught in his life.
Really?
So we got to take him that last day.
They call them nest. You call it bass nest. You call them
Y'all
nest.
making fun of me?
On a bed?
We're kind of making fun of you.
I mean, a little bit. It's definitely different. We call them beds. We call them bass beds.
You could definitely make fun of us if you want to. We don't care.
Well, we'll do that.
You can bully us if you want to.
I can't do that. We were talking against bullying.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, difference is we'll shake hands, but
yeah,
that's cool. We call it his biggest bass.
Biggest bass, and it's good to see these kids that getting involved in it. Back in high school, I went to Catholic High in Baton Rouge, and we had a little tournament with the kids. With just some of my people. And one of the guys in there, he's actually a professional fisherman, and he texts me all the time. He said, "Man, thank you for taking me fishing that day." Yeah. And so it's cool to get to see that, because then they can take their kids fishing, and
passes
so
on the
cool.
tradition.
Passes on.
Yeah. And the older you get, you appreciate the small things, because you weren't necessarily thinking about this when you were 25, 30. No.
No.
So older you get, because I've noticed that with my age. Older I get, more I pay attention to the small stuff. And you either want to help people or try to help someone's situation. So, I get it. So older you get, the better you get at it.
Will you be surprised at the people that we help, the position in life they are when they come to us for help, when we go to them and need help? They're at their worst time.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the most wealthiest people we've been around, they didn't have anything at the time. Lost their house, lost everything at the moment, So we're just people helping people. We came here with nothing, we're gonna leave with nothing, And you get people that get mad, and this one had a lot of money to spend to make his house better, and this one didn't, and this guy's mad because his house is on his roof. Right now it's just, let's make sure everybody's okay. We'll deal with that later.
Yeah, it's funny how people will argue and dislike and fight each other until something like that happens. Then everybody becomes a brotherhood.
Yeah.
You know, it's weird how that happens, you know. It's just like you just wish people would be like that, you know, all the time, and it would be such a better place.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a common enemy. Brings it together.
Yeah, it brings everybody together. Like, hey, you know, I know.
And we seen that whenever, as soon as we created the Yamaha race team.
Oh, yeah.
You know, our Mercury race team, at the beginning, we only had one race team. Well, they would never get along. They would never work together. They've never advanced the races because they were constantly fighting each other. But as soon as we got a Yamaha race team, the Mercury team just blossomed. They worked together and they shared ideas.
And that's one reason why we did it. But, I mean, it was still just, people just can't be happy. You know, they just can't be happy. And even if they got a really good thing going, just give them time. It seems like they'll ruin it.
Yeah.
You know?
You're right.
Why is that? Why do people get so bored that they ruin the situation?
Well, you know, I think with this AI coming out, I don't think that we have seen, because that's just new technology.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think where we're going to be at that in a couple of years it's going to be scary.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that social media has given people a false sense of 10 foot tall and bulletproof.
Oh, you're exactly right. I agree with you 100%. Yeah. They get behind that telephone and they're unstoppable.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. This AI stuff, though, is scary.
And it's something that, for one, I can't hardly comprehend. You know, I'm not real tech savvy myself, but from the things I've been told, I mean, it's going to be an issue. You know, especially if it gets, you know, into the wrong hands or gets used for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And the AI has definitely got the potential to.
My telephone tries to tell me what to do all the time. I'm like, whoa, I didn't ask for help.
GPS constantly gets me lost.
You know, turn you off. Turn off, you know.
I Googled a Havoc boat address this morning, and, man, I've been getting advertisements for depth finders and frog skin paint. And
That's
really?
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, do we got that program in our phone when somebody does that?
Yeah. If the code word boats is ever brought up,
we got to get with our marketing.
Spam them with Havoc.
We got to get our marketing team. How do we get that done, you know?
Boy, talk about Havoc.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. And back to what you're saying, what you do with the kids, taking them fishing and hunting and things like that, I think that's great because with technology as advanced as it is, it's taking a lot of attention off of the outdoors. For a lot of, you see a 3-year-old walking around holding the phone, knowing how to use it.
Yeah. Oh, God, that kills me.
And that absolutely is terrible because I wasn't raised that way. You weren't raised that way. He wasn't raised that way. And we all love and cherish the outdoors. But it seems to me that technology is it just takes their focus so bad they don't even want to go do this stuff.
Well, we used to hunt and fish in the woods and go catch tadpoles and all.
Yeah.
And we was in North Carolina a few years ago. The kids there didn't even know what a tadpole was.
I know it. We had rat tails and we came in, we came in from playing football after school and the night lights came on.
I think you need to bring that back.
Rat tails?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had rat tails back in the day. We were cool. We had playing cards and spokes in our bicycles. And,
I used to take cans and put them in there.
We just played football all day. We played basketball, rode skateboards, and we were never on the computer. Of course, we didn't have a computer when I was a kid. We had a Commodore 64.
We had encyclopedias.
Yeah, we had encyclopedias. Yeah. You're right. And I actually, I'd actually look at that thing. But nowadays, these kids your little boy can. I seen him.
He knows what the phone is.
Yeah, I seen.
He knows that he can grab it and he can do something on it. Yes. And it does stuff.
He
don't know how to use it, but he knows that if he can somehow sneak the phone, he knows he can touch it and it do stuff.
He's not even 2 years old. He's doing this.
So every time he takes it, I grab it back from him, and I'm like, no,
whoa,
not till you're 40.
They're so smart nowadays.
They are smart. This little kid's doing it. I know you don't know how to talk, but could you screen shoot this for me? So Ashley is like, hey, get that phone away from him. So we're constantly pulling the phone away from him.
He tries sneaking up on it. I'm like, dude, I see you.
Yeah,
you can't hardly walk.
I'm like, you're gonna go outside and pick up some rocks. That's what you're gonna do. So we took him outside. We're like, hey, pick this stuff up.
I tell you what, he'll load the back of his little John Deere. Electric John Deere.
Yeah, so we go outside. We're a whole family out there. We're picking up the yard and stuff just to get him to do something other than be on the telephone.
And he's not even 2 yet.
He's not even 2.
Boy, if we'd have had some people videoing us back in the day, we'd all be very, very wealthy nowadays with the stuff we did, huh?
Yeah, I used to shoot. We had BB gun wars.
Yeah.
BB gun wars.
I wonder how many BBs are stuck in people's eyebrows and foreheads and back of the heads. I guarantee you there's a ton of them.
We rode all the way from Arkansas to Fort Bragg, North Carolina in the back of a pickup truck.
You don't even see people doing that hardly anymore.
On the interstate.
Can you even legally do that anymore? I don't think you can.
No.
You can't ride without a license plate, but they do it all the time.
I was sitting against the cab of the truck, hot as crap, all the way from Arkansas, my grandma's house in Malvern on Highway 9, all the way to Fort Bragg, North Carolina in the back of a pickup truck. It was a Toyota, too. It wasn't even a cool truck.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, a Toyota's cool, but this was two-wheel drive, but long wheelbase, too. It was so ugly. But,
Times are changing.
Yeah, times are changing. Times are changing, for sure. But, we could talk all day on just fun stuff, but what you're doing is awesome.
It is.
We're a good company that believes in hardworking people,
and we believe in the American dream. We believe in doing what's right, even when no one's looking.
Yeah,
and that's, I think, is what's being lost in today's age.
And the social media is driving us to. We're using social media to talk stuff like this because we believe that, we just like to go back. To the morals and just helping people and understanding exactly what you do. A lot of people don't understand what you do, so.
Yeah, you watch TV and it's a crazy world to begin with. Then you watch TV and it seems like they only show the craziness. Yeah. You don't see a lot of the good. You don't see a lot of the people helping people.
I wish it would. I wish the media would do something a little different about that because it's sad, And
it brings the whole country's demeanor down.
Yeah, it does.
It keeps everybody down. And you see less people that just have the pride, the pride of being an American.
Sometimes I think that's God's way of bringing everybody together too, making a disaster. Because if you notice it, when the disasters happen, you don't see as much fighting. You got a different kind of nonsense going on.
Yeah.
That's true.
But it's not as bad.
It's not as bad, and you might be right. It's something to bring people together, and I think. I think with this election and what politics are doing nowadays, I think the American people are coming back together. No matter what color you are, no race, it doesn't matter. People are people. It don't matter what you do. It don't matter if you're a truck driver or a machinist, or it doesn't matter. So everybody's coming together. Trying to make it better. It's what I seem like.
I think you're right, 100%. We're just hoping we get back to where a handshake meant something. I feel like a lot of days now, a lot of people you talk to, you kind of got to be weary in a way because you don't really know what their motives are to a lot of people, and you can't. It's hard to trust people now, I'd say. And
I'm pretty sure when you go out there and rescue people, you are changing lives because without you, that they might have died or, so. In a way, what you're doing is also helping folks, but you're also having an opportunity to change someone's life because without you, they wouldn't have tomorrow.
There's so many volunteers that we have that we either rescued directly, indirectly, or we recovered a body directly or indirectly in their family. Some of our best volunteers were families of bodies we recovered.
Yeah.
So they want to give back, and they understand that. And, a lot of people get mad with law enforcement at the Coast Guard. They have a duty. They have a job to do. The Coast Guard, their job is to recover, live people in the water. After a while, they give up because it's not really that they give up. That's not the best word to use. Their mission is over. So we'll come in and help a lot of times. They will join back in the search.
Eventually, you got to give up.
Yeah.
Whether it's them or you, you want to stay out there as long as you can, but eventually there's the end of the race.
And then, you got your psychics that come in towards the end, too.
Your what?
The psychics.
Oh, wow.
You get these psychics that come in, and they take a little bit of information from this little piece and this little post and this little post. Then they start talking to the family, and that creates a whole other sense of, stuff at the end of a search a lot of times. So
wow.
There's a lot that goes into these searches.
I'm bad.
There's a lot more.
Yeah.
And talking to you today, I can definitely tell because I didn't even know how much.
Well, we all heard of this.
Yeah, everybody knows United Cajun Navy, what they mostly do, but the actual depth of what you're actually doing is just, I don't think a lot of people know.
People just see this news channel and everybody out there helping with John boats and everything else, but they don't. You watch the news.
Yeah.
It's just, it's misleading.
Very misleading.
It's misleading.
Yeah.
It's misleading in every way. You can't watch the news and say, okay, I felt good about that one. You know, it's so misleading. It's always driven for an agenda or something. It's not a good world we live in today.
And we don't have anybody that we can really trust even.
No, I know.
To the Super Bowl, did y'all watch the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I did.
You saw the satanic signs they said that chick was holding up, and you never had nobody that 100% said it was or it wasn't.
It's just like people trying to make us something.
It makes you pick a side and discuss it with other people, and nobody really knows.
I'm like, I seen it in the news making a big deal out of it. I said, give me a break.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
I mean, do we forget what the game was about?
Are we bored here? I mean, I don't know. That's a whole different deal. Well, you get me all fired up about that stuff, especially with the news, man, because they'll make a big deal out of nothing, But
selling views,
Yeah,
you could have been on there without a shirt with a havoc, with green havoc written across your back.
Yeah. Then somebody been mad because it was something else.
It was green,
yeah.
It wasn't St. Patrick's Day. It was Valentine's Day. They would have been mad.
Oh, yeah.
I can't believe their logo is green.
You know how it goes.
Yeah. Well, we deal with it all the time.
Absolutely. Well, man, it was great talking to you. I'm glad you made the trip.
Yeah,
I would say we learned a ton about you.
I'd like to know how many havoc boats were used in rescuing.
I don't know. I know a lot of customers went that way, with boats. There's over 10,000 havocs produced now. So
and I guarantee you have some in the fleet somewhere.
Oh, yeah, we definitely do. I've written in some.
I promise you.
So, this business to us is a family-owned business, and we got some good partners, and we got a lot of good people helping us produce this boat, and we're grateful. If you guys ever need anything, call us up.
Yeah, we sure will.
Because we can reach out to our people too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
we got to put a call out.
Yeah, definitely put us on that list because, we'll help.
We're all in it together.
Yeah, okay. you need big boats, little boats, whatever. We got some boats outside, that you guys could use, whatever, time to time.
We don't have anything going on right now. Can we go fishing?
Yeah, hey,
we can.
We're about to go fishing. I'm telling you,
we can. He's biting at the bits over here. He wants to go. He's big into it right now.
I've had to work for the last 3 weeks.
It's killing him.
Like, I work all the time. I mean, this is not part of my schedule.
He's usually allowed at least 1 to 2 fishing days.
I mean, why am I working 40 hours? I mean, golly, it's not even 40. It's more like 52.
It's always 52, man.
Yeah, we just got done with a boat show down there. I don't know. We didn't sleep for 3 days.
3 days, yeah.
Yeah, rig boats, drive all night.
Just driving
at the show. Then you got to visit everybody at night.
Oh yeah.
Then you go lay in bed. We were so tired. We got in bed around midnight. Could not go to sleep.
Don't re-woke up,
I'm like, all right, what is this? I'm not going to sleep for 48 hours?
Now, this is Miami?
Yeah, and this can't be healthy.
And you're complaining?
Yeah,
no
kidding.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. Well, man, I'm glad you came.
Thank y'all for having me.
We're going to wrap this thing up, and I'd love to give you a tour of the boat plant while you're here.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah.
And we'll go from there. Everybody, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Check us out on YouTube, Spotify, and Rumble. Check out our race series on YouTube. Catch you later.